Around 4 p.m., your body is still at work, but your mind has already started leaving. Not shutting down, not rebelling, just stepping back a little. You're still answering messages, still looking at the screen, but something inside you is done being on. And almost no one talks about that part. The workday isn't over, but your energy already feels like it is. The screen stays bright, notifications keep arriving, your calendar still carries expectations. And yet there's a quiet heaviness. Nothing dramatic, nothing alarming, just a subtle drain you can't quite explain. You notice it when you read the same sentence twice, when typing feels slower than it did earlier, when even small decisions start to feel oddly expensive. It's not that you don't care, and it's not that you've suddenly lost discipline. It feels more like your inner volume has been turned down, a kind of mental dimming. Easy to feel, hard to name. And because it's hard to name, it often turns inward. You might quietly wonder what's wrong, why you can't keep the same pace, why your sharpness feels softer than it did in the morning. From the outside, nothing looks off. You've shown up, you've been responsible, you've done what was needed. So when this tiredness appears, it can feel confusing or personal, like it must say something about you. But what shows up around 4 p.m. is rarely about effort. It isn't a motivation problem. It isn't a focus issue. It's accumulation. By that point in the day, your mind has already carried hours of thinking. Not just tasks, but context. Every decision that needed holding. Every conversation that required awareness. Every moment you stayed slightly alert, just in case. Even calm days ask for that. Switching between tabs, between people, between being focused and being available. None of that looks heavy while it's happening, but it leaves a trace. Your system has been adjusting all day, quietly, continuously, and sustained adjustment costs energy. By late afternoon, that cost becomes visible. Not as burnout, more like depletion. You're still capable, still functioning. There's just less margin. This is often when emotions feel closer to the surface. Neutral things feel heavier than expected. Patience thins without a clear reason. Not because you're sensitive, but because your internal buffer is lower. What makes this harder is how rarely it's spoken about. Work culture has language for stress. It has language for exhaustion. But this in-between state stays unnamed. So people assume it's weakness, or poor habits, or something they need to push through silently. Yet many thoughtful, capable adults experience the same shift, at almost the same time each day. Not because they're failing, but because they've been holding a lot, quietly. Holding expectations, holding professionalism, holding emotional regulation, holding the version of themselves that stays composed, responsive, and available. That kind of holding is invisible, but it's real. And by 4 p.m., your mind starts to notice the weight. Sometimes the tiredness isn't physical at all. It's relational. You've been reading rooms, matching tone, choosing words carefully. By late afternoon, the part of you that edits and filters feels worn. So focus slips. Not because you don't know what to do, but because your system has been engaged for hours without pause. This isn't a flaw. It's a sign of presence. And presence, especially the quiet kind, uses energy. There's also something about time itself. Morning holds possibility. The day still feels open. By late afternoon, the shape of the day is clearer. What happened? What didn't? What still lingers? That awareness alone can feel heavy. Not disappointment, just noticing. And noticing takes effort too. So when 4 p.m. arrives with that familiar drain, it doesn't mean you're falling behind. It often means you've been engaged longer than you realize. Many people meet this moment with self-blame. They tell themselves they should feel different. But the experience itself is deeply human. A nervous system that has been attentive all day naturally asks for less stimulation as the afternoon fades. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you responsive. Maybe the most important thing about 4 p.m. tiredness isn't what it demands. It's what it reveals. That you've been thinking, that you've been caring, that you've been carrying more than just tasks. And maybe, for a moment, it's enough to simply notice that. Not to fix it, not to explain it away, just to let the feeling exist without turning it into a verdict. Because sometimes, naming an experience gently is what allows the weight to feel shared. And that alone can make the day feel a little less heavy. This is 7D Mindset. Think deeper, see broader, grow wiser. If this gave you clarity and direction, subscribe to 7D Mindset. We are your space for career growth, personal development, and building a more stable, powerful, future-ready life. Your next decade is waiting, and you are ready for it.